recording. Hey everyone, this is OotiniCast, episode 381. It's being recorded 81. It's being recorded 81. It's being... to mute it, or else we get that going. It's great when it gets going several times and it starts sounding like the equivalent of putting two mirrors in front of each other. Being recorded on February 6th of 2020. This is an unusual time and date. Doc is busy next week, so we are bumping it forward. I'm very excited for this show, of course, but also next show. Do we have enough confirmation yet, Doc, or should we wait? Okay, we should wait. But we're working on something for next episode that's going to be very exciting. I can't say anything more, apparently, at this time, and I agree. But we'll get going here in just a moment. Doc, are you done technically, or do you think are you ready to go?
Yeah, the Force will be with us, right?
Exactly. So if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever later on, this is the full version of the episode that, with all the flubs and whatever left intact, and then it will be edited and cleaned up a bit and put out as a podcast tomorrow, and that is the plan. Let me go ahead and tweet this out, let everyone know that we're on, and then I think we'll be ready to go.
Chill.
Yeah.
I actually just looked at the most recent correspondence, and based on that wording, I think we can say what's going on.
Okay, let's do that at the end of the show then.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll save it as a mini teaser for the end of the episode.
Yeah, you gotta make it all the way to the end to find out.
Exactly. Plus, exactly. Plus, we're not actually in the podcast part anyway, so it wouldn't even make the podcast if we said it now.
I know. I'm saying we can reveal today what it is we've been trying to do.
Exactly, and also it'd be good to give some people a chance to come, especially since this is a really weird time and day for us. All right. Okay, so if you're ready, then I'll get going here in just a sec. I hate when don't you hate it when Twitch chat gives people colors that are almost the same as your background? So it's like, who said that? Because I like the night thing. So whenever they give someone dark blue, I have to look. It's like, okay, it's Zen. Hi, Zen. I'm good. Yeah. He's on the list already, so it's all good. All right. Yeah. I'll wait until you're done typing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put notes together
for what you've been doing. That's all good.
Yeah. We have a mind trap to talk about.
Oh, we do? I even checked your Twitter. I didn't see it.
They happened during last week's episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Actually, you did several you did several of them back then, didn't you? Yeah. Awesome. I did. Yeah, that'll be good to do.
So on the show notes, it is now called Mind Trap Returns.
That's right.
Return of the Mind Trap.
Oh,
there we go.
It has to be.
That got that episode 6 energy.
And
the Mind Trap. Same number of syllables and everything. ROTMT.
Mind Trap Awakens. Rise of the Mind Trap.
Oh, the Mind Trap. We can just play around with this in the
Return of the Mind Trap Awakens.
Rise of the
Return of the Mind Trap Awakens.
The Rise of Mind Traps. Why is this?
Return of the Revenge of the Mind Trap.
Everyone on Twitch, this is why you showed up early, right? This is a special conversation just for all of you.
Let me also special announcement.
Mind Trap, a Star Wars story. I love that, Intisar. Thanks. And then if I ever talk about mind traps without Chill, we can call it Solo Mind Trap, a Star Wars story.
Right. Rogue One Mind Trap.
One Rogue Mind Trap?
Well, that's right. That works too. I like that. I like it.
But there's two, always two there are today.
Ah, right. But which are we talking about first, the master or the apprentice?
Oh, good. They're right next to each other, so I can just do one screenshot. That's amazing. And you know what? People have some feelings about these.
Good. That's great.
Seriously,
I love talking about them.
Not everyone in the world is happy with me for striking up this conversation and having an opinion about it. It's going to be
awesome. I like it. Hey, I mean, sometimes it's good to have these sorts of, talks.
When you talked me into this, I was just a West Coast graduate school faculty minding my own business. I didn't realize I was going to become a lightning rod of hate and butthurtedness.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, if you're not me. Okay, let's do this, chill.
That's funny.
Wait, I don't know what I'm going to say back to you when the episode starts. Like last time I was so caught off guard that I was...
Because I made you do math, yeah.
Yeah.
It was episode 380, so I used the line about, Chewie being 190 years old, and I did that times 2. So anyway.
I like Zen
190 episodes times 2, you look great. That was last week's. But we're past that now.
The return of 3 Attack of the Last Mine Trap Strikes Back.
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah.
All right.
How about of the clones of the Mine Trap? Attack of the clones of the Mine Trap. Doesn't okay? I think we're good. We're in a mood today, apparently. All right, we're in a goofy mood, but I love it. So I'm gonna
that's a good thing.
On this energy. Let's get a going. We're already we're ready to go. So let's do it. All right, going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that rages in search of the Phantom Emperor. This is episode 381, being recorded on Thursday, February 6th, 2020. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, Dr SWTOR. Hey, Doc.
Hey, Chill, let's do it again.
All right. So, we had, your schedule was a mess for next week, so we bumped it up. And so go ahead and tell us what you've been doing in the shorter amount of time since the last episode.
All right. So the big thing that I've been working on with SWTOR has nothing to do with signing into SWTOR and putting in that security key or spending cartel coins or beating bosses. And it's crazy. Okay. I have... for the first time since I wrote my dissertation, written new SWTOR research on 7 consecutive days.
Wow.
And I've been crunching data to get a different perspective of that initial research study to try and write a shorter version that can make it into a professional journal.
Oh, and cool.
have higher exposure than dissertation studies usually do, but still using the same results. But we're doing a special edition, right? Jabba the Hutt's going to be in this one.
Yeah, that's
right. And so
you're going to add a few digital characters here and there.
Absolutely. So, and when you want to add digital characters that were not originally in your scene, that's actually a great metaphor for what I was doing all of yesterday afternoon. So, in my original study, I asked 2 questions that were not as good in hindsight as I wish they would have been. Uh-huh. I asked, what's your primary role that you play? And so the options, if you remember, were DPS, tank, healer.
Sure.
Right? And all my professors, they don't know what I'm talking about. So they looked at that question and they didn't question it. They're like, sounds good.
How could they question it? They had no idea.
Exactly. So, and so I thought the question was good because I wrote it. And so now 5 years later from when I originally wrote that question, and I'm a DPS now. I was not a DPS. I play harder content now. I don't know if I even had beaten story mode Temple of Sacrifice at the
Right.
time when I wrote those questions, right? I was new to everything, even though I'd been playing the story content since 2011 wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I wish I had written is range DPS, melee
Melee DPS.
DPS, right? And then I even went into it. Like, I spent so much time this week trying to say, like, so the tanks that have a blaster, the majority of their moves are still melee. So is that going to confuse psychology people? Or are they even going to care what a power tech is?
Right.
So, like, I was playing around with tanks with range as another thing that I might do, but I left tanks and healers alone. I ultimately concluded that most tanking is in melee range. Most heals have the flexibility of being at distance. So it's overkill to do like range heal. Like, it doesn't make sense. But with DPS, I was like, what if most of the introverted people play melee DPS and I didn't catch that because I left melee and ranged acting like they're the same group?
Right.
So I spent all day yesterday.
Or maybe they shoot from a range.
Sure, right? So I went through the data yesterday and I created some scripts that would take people who reported DPS and are a range class and change the number that is recorded in that response. And then same thing. So reported a melee class and DPS. And then I just had to manually go through. A couple people said they were probably thinking of different tunes because of the wording of the questions.
Sure.
But there were a few people that said that they primarily play heals and they primarily play Marauder. And so looking at that, obviously, that's not possible, right? Yeah. Those are two different.
Right.
That's two different play sessions being reported by the same player. So
exactly,
I had to deal with that. And so the interesting thing, Chill, is all that work, and it didn't matter, right?
Oh.
There's no statistically significant result that says certain personality types will pick certain group roles. That's what I call this variable, the role that you fulfill when you're trying to be in a group, right?
Nice.
And
it's interesting because sometimes no result is a result, and it's interesting.
Well, that's exactly it. So what we know from that series of stats that I ran, and I ran over 90 different ways of doing analysis of variance on these variables. So all personality types have the potential for enjoying any of those four roles: range, melee, tank, heal. And so if I would have had a significant result in that test, it would have meant that certain personalities are prone to pick this one and shun the others. But that's not how personality works, and that's not how playing SWTOR works. It's a very alt-friendly game, and I think the structure of the game really does encourage people to branch out and learn some new things, even if it's not their favorite. So
nice.
That was my whole afternoon. I did play some SWTOR. We had a small group of former raid team members that had some free time on Saturday, so we talked about what do we want to play. There's four of us, me, Marcus, and Balto and Albus, who are not on Death Star Troopers anymore, but because 6.0 created an opportunity to form a new group for them. And we just took our four people and said, maybe we can beat Karaga's Palace, which is an operation. So you're not supposed to have four people for that. Oof. And it was really fun. We actually were successful, but people kept seeing that we were playing on Discord and saying, what are you up to? And we have room for more. So by the time we got halfway through the op, we actually had our group, but it was really fun to get those videos for the beginning of the op and taking down bosses with not the right people count. So that was fun. And in hardwood rating news, we got Apex Vanguard down to 4% on one poll last Thursday.
Ooh,
so
that is close.
It was very close. It was one really good poll. So hopefully we can capture that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe I'm 10 hours away from killing Apex Vanguard on veteran mode. How cool would that be
Yeah. Since
for
I
next
haven't seen that
episode?
fight yet, is there anything special about the last 4%, like that would make it extra difficult? Like, is the boss like automatically doing more damage or doing extra effects or anything that makes the
Yeah,
last few percent hard, or was it just coincidence that you got so close and then stopped at 4%?
it seems to me, well, not for ranged lightning DPS. There's nothing special. Just
Okay.
do enough damage to kill the boss. But as far as the whole team, it does seem like there's a resource that someone in the group is using to reduce the damage on the group. They're the flares that you drop on the floor,
Okay.
and it mitigates the outgoing damage from the boss. And I think you run out of those. And it seems like, and it's a very long fight too.
Right.
So
So it's like a
even if you're
soft
deep,
enrage sort of mechanic where it's like, okay, now you're out of flares, so hey, you better take them down soon because you're gonna just be taking all kinds of extra damage.
that's what it seems like to me. Yeah.
Cool.
So if you have the one tank doing all the things with the battery to get the stations and turn off the lights, then it's going to go smooth until the boss is not being held back by flares.
Right.
So I only do the one roll for this team, so it's very likely that I'm missing some things in my analysis of what happened. But soft enrage, it's that sounds appropriate to label it because at some point you either killed him or you didn't,
Right.
and it happens at the very end.
Cool.
So
So yeah,
yeah,
very
so
nice.
that's it for me and actually playing and crunching numbers this week until we get to the mind trap. So what about you, Chill? And also it looks like we got a healthy stream chat going too. So let's check in with them.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that because thank you for everyone for coming. Like I say, unusual day, unusual time. I mean, yeah, we put it out there and tried to let people know about it, but that's still it's great to see people able to be here. 24 is here, a Thunder Shrimp, Butter Cadillac, Deck is here, our guild leader. Double DC, Evan04111, GZA, Intisar Nor, Kitty Kisses is here, Medulla, Squishy Twitchy, VNK, Virgo Praz, and Zen0001. Hey everyone, thanks for coming. And let's see what I just been burning through all kinds of story. Gwenpool is now done with Osis, and she has Doc back. She's a Jedi, which is really nice. So all she has is, she has Hearts and Minds, but then she just has Onslaught after that. Deadpool is a few chapters into Kotfi, and so this is that awkward time when, like, you don't really have anyone around to do crew missions. So I always try to push through pretty hard to get to chapter 9, get the Alliance back, and even usually you don't get all your class companions back at that point, but you can at least, unlock your several other ones and start doing crew missions at a normal rate again, at least. So I'm kind of pushing him through that, and he's only got like Act 3, so he's got quite a bit to go. War Machine is still cranking along. I'm still, because I'm not using like the XP gear and XP boosts. He's now done with Voss. He's about to go to Corellia. Except oops, because I accidentally clicked on one of them when I started Voss, actually. So I'm a little ahead of where I would be XP wise, but what are you gonna do? I mean, unfortunately, that it's like one of the buffs in the game. You can't right click and remove it. So and I can see why, because you as a subscriber, when you're doing a new character, you're doing the class story, you get XP boosts for free. And then and that's great. If you're, however, buying them off the GTN, they're a little expensive and so on, and it would suck if you accidentally like right clicked one of those and made it go away. So I understand why they have the XP boost non removable. It doesn't really matter though. The not doing the XP boost thing has accomplished its mission. I've done the world arcs. I think I skipped like part of Tatooine because it was driving me nuts, and I think I've done everything else I think. Can't remember now, but I've definitely done almost all of them. And yeah, so we're on to Corellia. I'll do the world arc there, even though I think I still have some of the XP boost on him. So it doesn't, but that doesn't matter. Like I said, he's like level 52 and starting Corellia. So doing the world arcs has been really good, because he was, even before I clicked the XP boost, he was ahead of where he needed to be. So just doing the class missions and the world arc as a subscriber, at least, because you do get a little bit more as a subscriber of XP. It's good enough to get things going. Really liking the plasma tech. It's a lot of fun effects, and you get some good AoE. You get solid single target as well. There's some nice utility in there as well. It's a good spec to play, and I enjoy it. So it's not going to be my main. I still like the whole assassin and shadow thing for DPS as a main. Still like that. They're still the only ones that have like all the set bonuses and everything maxed out. But yeah. And Deadpool's now 75 too. So he's just starting Kopfi, and he dinged 75. So that's XP gear and XP boost. So he got there pretty quick. It's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying doing all of those characters. All right, that'll bring us to the tip of the week, and we actually have 3 tips this week. The first one was made by Maximus Rex on Reddit, but it was brought to our attention by Cole Bennett. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it gets into a lot of detail and so on, and it's also anyway. Don't want to go into all the details, but I will give you the lowdown. Basically, it lines out which crew skill usable companions, in other words, not like Act Dog and stuff like that you cannot use crew skill missions for, but which crew skill usable companions will either take maintenance or delicacy gifts. So there'll be a link to this in the show notes. Because maintenance or delicacy gifts are, they're newer. They were added, much later than the other ones. A lot of the cartel market, if it's like an Act Dog or one of the other critters, they usually like delicacies. If they're like a droid, they like maintenance. But then they also go into a little more details of like which normal companions like delicacies and maintenance. So like Bodar, you can actually raise him up with delicacies. C2 and 2N you can raise up with maintenance, and you can with the HK droids as well. So if you want more detail, you can go into that to that Reddit. They did a really good job, and the reason for that they brought this up is because there's a lot more of the Jawa junk now. So the Jawa junk is purple, and then they call it different things for the blue and the green. But you can buy delicacies and maintenance in all 3 of those at all 3 of those levels. And they're really common because anytime you fail a rank 11 crew mission, you're getting some, and then all the other ways that you used to be able to get it, you tend to get it as well. So there's a lot of it in the game, and this kind of lays out how you can now use some of that if you're not going to use it to get the other things which you can get with Jawa junk, which is basically crew skill, purples and blues and greens. So. By the way, the rank 11 crew skill stuff is really expensive. It's like crazy expensive. So it's really not. It really burns through your Jawa junk really fast if you're going to do it that way. But the gifts and the lower level stuff, level 10 and below, are all pretty inexpensive in terms of Jawa junk. So yeah, so go to that. Those vendors are on the fleets, and so thank you, Cole, for pointing that out. That's I
have a question about the video. I'm watching it on mute right now. And so the video is in the Nar Shaddaa stronghold, and the person who put the tip together just has all the companions lined up and is putting the images of the tooltips for each of these Jawa junk materials.
Right.
So on the left side, it appears there's an Ugnaught, and on the right side, there's another alien kind of character. And I'm not familiar with all the companions in the game. So are those also companions you can get?
Some of them are cartel market, and then I remember reading, when I was looking at this tip, Some of them are from those like the Star Fortresses. Like, you remember how you get those weird companions from
Right.
Star Fortresses? A couple of those
Okay.
take either maintenance or delicacies. So yeah, like I say, if you want the details, you can go into that Reddit thing. But basically, what it comes down to is, if once you find a companion who can use those, you can then take your Jawa junk, go to the vendors, and just buy a whole ton of
Okay.
those gifts.
And Medulla, who's in our chat right now, has saved me and pointed out the Ugnaught comes from Dantooine,
There we go. Okay,
which
so
is why
that's
I don't
that's a new one.
recognize him.
Yeah, that is a pretty new one then, because Dantooine's the new event. Excellent. All right.
Well, that beats spending like $120 on those compendiums or whatever to instantly rank up, and it also beats the whole like just spending.
Yeah, and I consider them. When I fail a crew mission and I get that stuff instead of like nothing, which is what we always got before. If you failed, you just got nothing, except for the influence for that companion. I mean, it's great to actually have something that you can, use these for. So, yeah, good stuff. Second tip is from Japeo. And Japeo said, "Good evening, Chill. This may be common knowledge. However, I've been playing SWTOR since beta and just found out about this. And you can put your crew skills on your quick slot bags by opening the crew skill window and dragging the item onto your quick slots. And I don't know how I never knew about this for all of these years." Yeah, I think this has come up on the show like once or twice briefly, but it's been a while, so it's okay to bring it up again.
I started doing this because of OotiniCast and the tip of the week.
There you go.
So,
it's been a long time then. Yeah. So crew skills are good. You can also use active items. So in fact, there was a tip not too long ago, a few episodes back, talking about tacticals. You get out of combat. Let's say you're an assassin, you vanish, you're out of combat. You can change your tactical. If you're really low on health, and you do that health one, it'll give you a bunch of health back. Then you can change back the tactical again to your normal combat one, and boom, you can get right back in the fight. But crew skills too. There you go. Third tip is from Graham, and Graham is replying to me when I said on the OotiniCast Twitter, "Hey, I'm doing show notes. If you have a tip of the day, send it in." So Graham said, "If you're poor at war zones, make sure you utilize your outfit designer and change your appearance before stepping into the next one." And I kind of like this tip because on the surface, it's kind of a joke. It's kind of silly. But on the other hand, I mean, if you can avoid some negativity and, you're just new at war zones and you just don't want to be like, harangued, I think it's perfectly acceptable to change up your appearance just so that people, hopefully they don't recognize your name and they just, they won't know that you were the trooper or whatever who was messing up things last time, and you can have a fresh shot and not get yelled at. And self-care is important in this sort of thing. So I'm okay with this tip. I like this tip. So thank you, Graham.
Chill, you know where I'm going to go with this, but as a mental health counselor, if you're having trouble with self-esteem, why are you playing PvP in SWTOR?
That is a valid point. But hey,
I mean,
but maybe you like it and you want to get better at it, and in the meantime, you need to change your appearance once in a while.
I actually was having a pretty decent conversation about this during the week, and this is just me wondering about if science has already looked at something, because now I'm curious. So PvP is the competitive mode, player to player, right? That's what it stands for. And in other games that we have in the world, not the virtual world, but the real one, people trash talk, and it's just part of the game. And I wonder if the reason that we don't necessarily look at a basketball player and say they are toxic, but we will easily look at an MMO player and say, or even an entire MMO game mode, and call it toxic. I personally don't like the T word because I think it makes something very complex sound a little bit too easy to understand.
Right.
And so then you don't really get to know the person that you're labeling because you just assume you understand the label. So I just wonder if it's the typed format or the intimacy of receiving a whisper or the fact that general chat, because we're reading it, our brain converts things into facts when we read things, whereas maybe we can hear things and conclude that person's an idiot that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, so I'll move on. Or maybe
Right.
audible noise is just part of the game, but typed noise is like impactful or has a increased cognitive meaningfulness.
Right.
And I'm really just wondering all of that because I think maybe
Yeah.
it could go down that path where PvP has a bad rap because we're not understanding the psychology of it. Or maybe it's just a con from them. Like if I badger this person enough, they won't come back into my game mode, which lowers the likelihood that I'll be teamed with them, which increases the chance that I'll win. So it's kind of like a voter suppression tactic.
Right. Right. You're right. The equivalent, yeah, the gamer equivalent, yeah. Right,
Yeah.
and also with the typewritten word in games like SWTOR anyway, uh, as opposed to like something that was more audible, where it also is ephemeral. Whereas if it's typed, until it scrolls off of the screen, it's going to stay there, and you can potentially look at it multiple times, and you can be reminded of it as multiple times too, which
Yeah.
can get kind of ugly. So. Yeah, so I like that. I like that tip as well. By random allotment, the winner is Japeo. So congratulations, Japeo. You're the winner
Congrats.
of a Tonfon or M83R droid peg code, or you can also now get an M2B9 droid code. It's one of the newer ones that they've put out, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. If you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. And because we're doing this on an unusual time, just know that we're still planning on doing it the time we would have done if we had done the show on the 11th. So the next show will actually be the 25th of February. And that will bring us to the return of the Mind Trap. Doc?
All right. So last episode with Marcus, we were diving in deep, wondering why are we getting an Alderaan stronghold? And that was Marcus's main gripe for the first half of the episode. So I just decided to be flexible with my approach and put the question out there. And I just want to say directly to Marcus, I hope he's enjoying this episode when he listens. You are so out of touch with the community. 73.6% of the people who voted, nearly 100 people voted, not just appreciate strongholds, have strongholds, they love them. Capital LOVE. Love strongholds. And so when we're sitting back saying we don't get new content, Alderaan Stronghold doesn't make sense. Well, if I was BioWare, I'd be making a new stronghold every 2 months. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, we love them, apparently. It's calming. Like, I had so much interesting conversation. Not that I was able to respond back to a lot of it, but I definitely read every single message. But a lot of really good points about mindfulness and keeping a balanced approach, breaking up all the fast-paced or competitive or self-esteem depleting PvP nonsense, and it's just a place where you go to unwind and not be impacted by other people. But it's all, you can use them communally. You can purchase them for your guild, so everyone can choose to go there instead of the guild ship, and just a lot of things that throwing out a simple 6 or 7 word question, and wow, I was blown away by that. It's kind of that moment chill when I was doing my original data, and it's like, wow, most people don't even care about operations, and that blew my mind 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm just using Nar Shaddaa because it makes sense to me, and this is a big deal.
Right. Well, I still love Nar Shaddaa, but it also makes sense to me because I have everything set up there. Yeah. It turns out I'm with the majority on these as well. I don't play ranked PvP. I mean, granted, I've done a little bit of it in the past,
Well,
but
let's talk
I
about
had to
that in
I
a
had to put
minute.
no on that. As far as the
Yeah.
strongholds go, I did say I love them. That was my answer. And even though like I'm not great about decorating them properly and stuff like that, I really love the opening of my Nar Shaddaa one because that's where how I have it up set up exactly how I like it, and I love I've always loved Nar Shaddaa from the moment like the day one of SWTOR when I was when I got to Nar Shaddaa I was like, this is awesome, and it's still pretty much my favorite planet. I mean, it's probably tied with a couple of others now, but I've always liked Nar Shaddaa, and I was so happy that there was a stronghold for it, and also I appreciate them because they are super super handy. Not only because you can put a GTN and then and storage and stuff like that in there, but for traveling around, it's really good as well. You can get to your ship easily. You can get to the fleet easily. You can jump in, clear your bags if you need to, and then go back to whatever you're doing on whatever planet you're doing it on. Super 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 handy as well. So yeah, I love them.
So I'm curious, Chill, if you could pick 3 planets that we don't have a stronghold yet, what do you think you would be most interested in? And try to do them in order. Like, what's the number one, and then a
Okay,
couple others.
let me think. Okay, I haven't thought about this before. So I mean, because the ones that I've kind of asked for have been kind of like they've gone along. That's what the ones that they have done. So I love the Manon one, for instance. Stuff like that. Um, One planet that I've always loved the look of. It'd be a little weird for a stronghold because people don't really live there, but Belsavis, the prison planet. I've always, it's a pain in the ass to get
Prisoners
around
live
in,
there.
but I love the look. It has like the jungle look, but also you have these funky ice walls everywhere. And I have no idea how that works, if it's pumping out, volcanic gases or something in these circles or whatever. But I've always loved how that looks. It's one of my favorite planets in terms of just strictly in terms of how it looks. The one behind you is pretty awesome, Osis. Beautiful planet. I would
Oh,
love to see that one.
Chill.
I know
Oh
you.
no.
Well, you burned yourself out on it, but I still like it. And also, I mean, I've traveled around the American Southwest, and seen all that gorgeous red dirt everywhere, and it's awesome. And it reminds me of the Southwest of the United States quite a bit. And I've liked that one as well. Third one though, we don't have a Hoth one. I sometimes get tired of Hoth because it's so bright that my eyes get tired when I play there too long. But
Yeah.
I do love the bleak, cold, like harsh, just but wide open vistas with like the jagged ice. And they did some good things with like the huge ice spikes and stuff like that, and the crevasses and stuff. You don't get a whole lot of that when you watch Empire Strikes Back. It's mostly that open plain around, that you see, and some sort of hills and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say Hoth would be my third. But yeah, I love Belsavis's look, and lava and ice. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we're kind of on the same page there. As soon as you said Belsavis, I thought that would be really awesome because you'd have so many different climates
Mm-hmm.
available.
Yeah.
All you have to do is be creative with the placement and put it on a mountain, but going through the mountain, coming out the
Right.
other side.
Yeah.
And it like maybe it would also be ricotta themed, probably the interior,
Sure.
right? Because
That's right.
that's how you
It.
get from the snowy parts to the volcanic parts is walking through a ricotta temple kind of
Right. Yeah.
setup.
I'd love that.
And maybe they could even have those teleport rooms, right? Like
That's
just
right. If it was
east
big enough.
west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah,
like they're
that could
doing
be cool.
Frontas on Alderaan now. The
Yeah.
Alderaan that's coming out. They changed it from a regular taxi to Thrantas. Yeah.
Yeah. For people watching live and have access to the chat, Dekion immediately posted my number one thought about that question is Mech Shah. I think the idea that there is a
Yeah.
big
I do like Mech Shaw.
asteroid floating around in space and we want to live there. is just crazy. And looking out into, I guess we call it the sky, but it's not the sky.
Right, it's just the vacuum
It's
of space.
right, with a laser volleyball net around the asteroid.
Protecting it,
I
yeah.
just think I think that would be so interesting to be able to gaze at and walk around, and it is kind of a one note aesthetic, but it's such a cool aesthetic that I
Mm-hmm.
think it would eventually be a great stronghold option.
Yeah,
And
that would be cool. And like you were saying, Deck was saying he'd like a smaller one, and you could do Mechshaw as a smaller one. It would be more like the Coruscant or the Drum and Koss ones that feel like good size apartments rather than like these sprawling ones like Tatooine is huge and Rishi is gigantic and so on. And you could do Mechshaw as like a good sized multi bedroom apartment essentially.
And I was thinking, what about Star Wars planets that are in the game, but you don't have the open world? Is there a stronghold? And actually, the Umbara train.
Yeah, I finally got the Umbara
You,
train because you don't have to do Umbara the Flashpoint anymore. You can just go buy it with credits.
so since they're able to do that, and there's no like exit to planet option, I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would
I
work.
haven't
Does it
tried that.
exit
Yeah,
to?
it would
Does
exit to
it
the
exit
Flashpoint. That doesn't make any
maybe
sense.
Odessin?
Probably Odessin. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I know the planet's not in Star Wars yet, but I would just love for Dagobah. Just if we're going off the wall and trying to think of things, but Voss. If I had to
Yeah,
pick a
Voss is
third
nice
Star
with
Wars planet,
the
I
autumn
think
the
they're
autumnal
the
feel
coolest
to it.
species in the
Yeah,
game.
that too.
I love looking at their eyes.
Yeah.
So, or maybe what I actually want is playable Voss
Right.
species.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was having a chat with that on my stream the other day, and someone was asking, why they haven't done Voss, and we've asked them before. I've asked them at cantinas, and they basically, when they're coming up with a new species that they want to make playable, has to follow some rules. They have to be pretty close to human, so they can't do the Wookiee thing, they can't do like Ugnaught, way too short, way too tall, or just way not human. They're not going to do like Gree
Like
and stuff like that.
Nautilins?
They're not going to do like Gree. Well, and they have to speak basic or be known to speak basic, because they're not going to go back and redo all of the class stories so that you're speaking alienese in all of them. That's just not going to happen. That's too much work. And similarly, like the size has to be about right so that they don't have to like again go back and change all these cutscenes in your class story and in all the other cutscenes in the game too, because it would mess it up if if you were Wookiee height and so on. What they said is like the problem with Voss is that they're tall, and which I didn't even notice it until they told me. But yes, if you look in the game very carefully, yes, the Voss are taller than average. So the only question, if you ask me, is like, would the gamers be accepting of body type 1, 2, 3, and 4 Voss? In other words, kind of normal height, but apparently kind of short for Voss. I'm perfectly okay with that. But apparently this has been a sticking point for them, for the developers.
I mean, if we're accepting that Marauder Reflect can take down Emperor Palpatine, spoilers, then I think we'll be fine with a Smuggler Voss being a possible created character in an MMO game. I want to go to the second Mind Trap because this one has a little bit of exploring too coming with it. Is do you play ranked PvP? So notice the Stronghold question very specifically says, do you love Strongholds?
Mm-hmm.
And we had an overwhelming yes on that. The second question is not about loving anything. It's just, do you play it? As in, I log in and maybe I will queue up for this and that will be what I do for some time.
Mm-hmm.
152 people felt like they needed to share their opinion on this. So really good, potentially reliable result here.
Right.
Meaning, if I were to do this again and leave it up and get 150 other people, it's very likely the numbers would be similar.
Right. It's self-selecting, but other than that, I think you're right. Everything else
Right.
about
So then the question
participating
is like,
makes
do
sense.
ranked PvP players listen to podcasts about games, right?
Right. Or at least watch the
Probably not.
video.
We're too plebeian for them, probably. But 12.5% said, yes, I do play ranked PvP. And out of 152 people, that is not very many people. So all of our questions the last 2 episodes about class balance, changes, move nerfing, set bonus tinkering, ruining tacticals, or not even releasing them, every single person that I ask, ops players and ranked PvP players, all believe that it's because of PvP that's why they're looking at this, right? Nobody says it's because of bosses are getting cleared in ops. Not a single person has said that to me. And when I ask, they say, no, that's definitely not it. So whether that's true or not, whether, if we asked Eric and he said, absolutely, that's a great question, but, because anyway, that's a really good question. So anyway, it seems like 12.5% of the players are making the decisions about what BioWare needs to spend their time doing in terms of set bonus, class balance, move altering, number tinkering kind of things. And I guess what I would say looking at data like this, if it's inaccurate, like if there's better numbers that BioWare has, it would be really cool for them to explain this to me because I'm willing to listen and understand. But as a person who, like, I don't get to vote in these, Chill. I put the, like,
Right.
on Twitter, I can't vote. All I can do as soon as I post it is see the answers coming
Because you're the
in.
poster, right?
Right. I would never have said yes to this question. Like, I think I've done 3 ranked PvP matches, and there's also this weird thing, like, people are so judgy, and I think that there's like a social awareness that we have in the real world where you can kind of tell when someone's talking to you about something and their perspective is open for debate, they're willing to change their mind, they want to hear your opinion, versus like the other mindedness of talking where it's like, I'm not up, like I am closing you off, you can speak, I'm not listening, my mind is made up. And translating that into what happens in ranked PvP, it's like there's this perception of everyone who's doing poorly, like I can teach them how much they suck. And I really need to let them know how much they suck at this game. Because if I don't, then they're going to keep playing this game in a sucky way. And I need to save them with a lot of name calling and curse words, but I'm saving them. Like I need to grant them salvation in their PvP playing. And it's like, guys, ladies and gentlemen, nobody needs to see what you have to type to anybody. Like if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Like my mom told me, Chill, did your mom tell you that? Like seriously, we are grown-ups playing a game and we let you down. And hopefully we never get grouped together again. But the problem is you need 8 people to queue for this. So what's your agenda? You're 12.5% of the population. And I think there's a reason for that. So, I mean, Ops is the same thing. Most people don't play those either. And when you're looking at an MMO, every single content area is very selective, except apparently strongholds. So there are things that bind us together. Right. Costume designer, strongholds, and maybe the idea that when we log in, we're trying to have fun. So if you're not focused on that, then probably stop whispering to people and figure out what this game is for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. All right. Is there anything else about the mind trap we should say? Are we ready to move on?
You want me to say more, Chill?
No, I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. All right, that'll move us on to the Holo feed. And there's a new subscriber reward, the Umbaran Patrol Tauntaun. If you are a subscriber this month, well, first of all, it's already out now, so you might have already have it. But if you do become a subscriber this month, you will be able to get on every character an Umbaran Patrol Tauntaun. Just there's a nice picture of it in the show notes that they put on, and basically has some armor, has some like a purple and gold sort of color scheme to it. Really, really big, like tusks or horns or whatever you want to call the things that the Tauntauns have, that like almost obscures its face. It's so like mean looking, and it's got spikes on its helmet. So it's a little on the tough side of the Tauntauns. But yeah, not bad looking at all. I rather like it. And yeah, so you log in and it'll show up in your mail. Be a subscriber, anytime between January 28th, which is past, and up to February 29th. So you have a little bit of time on that. Let's see. Events for February. There is going to be a Rakghoul resurgence on Alderaan. So the Rakghouls are back, this time on Alderaan, starting on February 11th. That's going to go a week. It's going to end on February 18th. Other than that, I'm sure we've all seen the Alderaan Rakghoul event probably by now. Usual rewards and so on. And then there's going to be a bounty contract week, and that's going to start the end of the month, February 25th. It's going to go through March 3rd. So that one, and that one's nice and, easy, low level. The Rakghoul, you have to be 25 level. Bounty contract, you can actually do it as low as level 15. Sometimes it's actually fun if you happen to be that level and like you're gonna go to your to Coruscant or Dromund next, and you're level 15. You go grab the bounty mission and do it while you're that level. It's kind of cool actually to do it that way. And let's see. So in last episode, Keith had his What's Coming post. So there was a little bit of follow up from that. Let's see. So someone put on the website, I agree that it's vague, but he obviously revealed all he can. I still find the game fun. I look forward to the new story parts. And then Eric said it would start with 6.1, but maybe it got pushed back. I'm happy to continue leveling my characters while I wait. Plenty to do, even while replaying a class. It gets you more content if you play it differently. And then Keith wrote back, thanks, Luke. My intention was to say hi, let you know SWTOR will be around for years to come, that we've had a lot of fun this past quarter with Onslaught, and it's time to move forward with 2020, starting with Game Update 6.1. So, scrapping my old post, here's my new one. Hi. SWTOR will be around for years to come, because we're planning to release something big for our 10th anniversary. Onslaught continues to be a lot of fun, but we need to start providing updates. On February 11th, we'll release 6.1, and that'll be only one of many in 2020. We'll get you more details about upcoming releases, and hope to see you at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, California. So that's basically the shortened version of his post. Then there was even more follow-up. Story outlines for 6.1 and 6.2 from Keith. So possible spoilers coming, just a heads up, you might need to zip forward a couple of minutes. But Keith did sort of give just the general outlines of what the story is going to be. He didn't get into too much detail, but he did kind of let you know basically what's going to happen. Game Update 6.1 will include a small story beat around the sides of Hearts and Minds. Specifically, this will be about checking in with the newly formed factional groups. Task Force Nova for Republic players, and The Hand for Imperials. Making some initial decisions to guide them as they're getting ramped up, including saboteur options for those so inclined. For Imperials, this also means meeting your new liaison, Darth Rivix. He was a lot of fun to write, so I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's reactions. So that's cool. It's always fun when you know that they enjoyed writing something. The update will also include a few other small scenes, including a check-in with Kira and Scourge, setting the story up for Game Update 6.2, and there'll be more on that below. Troopers will have a one-on-one with Alara Dorn. Very good. Agents will have a one-on-one with Vector. And lastly, and this is the slightly more spoilery point, characters on each side will get small hints as to what's going on with Darth Malgus from two different perspectives. So we're going to have a couple of different ways to look at that. It's always fun when you get to see that. As mentioned, 6.1 will be followed by 6.11 and 6.12. After that, the next story beat will come in Game Update 6.2, which they're calling right now the one where the crazy stuff happens. And then
I love the
asterisk.
Friends reference.
Yes, definitely the final confirmed update name. Right, it is in Friends format there. Since it's still in the works and a bit further out, I won't go into nearly as much detail, but I'm just going to put everything in spoiler tags just in case. The TLDR is that 6.2 will deal directly with the situation that Kira and Scourge have brought to light at the end of Onslaught. Specifically, 6.2 will deal with Satil Shan, her followers, and whatever is up with Tenebre's last weapon or ritual or nefarious plan that was sort of hinted at by mostly Scourge and Kira. And then he does hit a couple of points here just to get it out of the way. No, Valkorion isn't becoming the main villain of the game again. That said, I am hoping to include several faces we haven't seen in a while. While the story of this update was introduced as an epilogue to Onslaught, I actually view it as more of an epilogue to Knights of the Eternal Throne. Makes sense since it's, Valkorion related. I have actually seen at least one person on the internet guess a few of the crazier details, so enjoyed debating about who is on the right track. I love that. And seriously, it's going to get weird, so buckle up. Pretty awesome. So
I think what we're going to find out is Valkorion has been cloned or brought back to life on some dark side planet on the edge of the galaxy, and we're going to have to go find a wayfinder to go track him down. We're going to find a wayfinder, do that, and then we'll find out that he was grown out of some piece of skin or genetic material from when we killed him in our dream world, and that we're his daughter.
That's right. Of course.
Yep. Crazy stuff. Like they're making my imagination run wild here. Before I get into this and ask questions specifically about this post, there's a question that I've meant to ask you on at least the last 3 episodes, and every time
sure.
I run out of time. What got slaughtered in Onslaught?
What do you mean? Onslaught doesn't mean slaughter. Onslaught means to rush forward and attack.
Who experienced the onslaught in Onslaught?
Oh, I see. I'm guessing that's a reference to the attack by the Empire on the Corellian shipyard.
Okay.
That's what I would guess. Sorry if that's
okay.
Too prosaic, too plebeian.
I end up talking about this game all the time, and it just seems like I finished the story and didn't feel like there was an onslaught going on. Like, I guess it's because we're zoomed in on a character, so it's... I don't know.
Right. So basically, yeah, exactly. Because whether you're doing Empire or Republic, either way, you're sort of like greasing the wheels or throwing sand in the gears, essentially. If you're Republic, you're trying to slow them down, unless you're, unless you're secretly trying to undermine them. But you're trying to throw sand in the gears and slow them down and make the attack weaker. And then with the Empire, you're doing the opposite and trying to make sure that the fleet gets there on time and without parts of it being destroyed or left behind or all that stuff. So.
At the risk of not understanding how words work, Chill, I just looked up the definition of onslaught.
Okay.
And it's a fierce or destructive attack. Okay. I don't know. I didn't feel like we launched a fierce attack. I'm waiting to attack something fiercely. All right. Well, as far as this update with 6.2, Valkorion's not the main villain, and we're going to find out what the Satil Shan Tenebrae problem is.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like, what do you think they've had time to build? That she's a really important character, and looking at the history of the game, they had Revan in a Flashpoint, and then I feel like Shadow of Revan was like, wait, we can do Revan bigger and more memorable.
Right.
So I feel like if you're, she's kind of been in the background. She had that one chapter in
I don't know, Dessen and all that.
Fallen Empire, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
still in Fallen Empire for her chapter, and she has Darth Maul at that part as a ghost, and they're friends now, I guess.
Right.
And now, like, this bad thing has happened to her. We have no idea what that implies about her, and that feels really important. So I'm wondering if there's
I'm assuming that whatever's being
PvEs.
built was built, long before by Vitiate as a backup system that didn't quite get, that wasn't able to be turned on or didn't get turned on, or like a dead man switch or something like that.
But I'm talking more about what's the play format that we're going to experience it? Is it going to be a cutscene and then a boss battle that we get to do once? Is it going to be a flashpoint?
Yeah.
Is it going to be large group content like an op?
Well, that's
can't...
that's 6.2. That's out of ways, so I don't know. I would hope it's a. I mean, I don't know what I hope for. It sounds like it could be big enough that they could do it like as a flashpoint. Like with big boss fights involving whatever this ritual or machine or ritual machine or whatever, or disease or whatever it is. And
maybe it's a sacrificial sphere that. I'm sorry. We don't need Temple of Sacrifice 2.
Yeah, it would.
Wait, maybe we do. Temple of Sacrifice 2. What?
It would work as a flashpoint, though. I'm saying I don't think it's big enough to be an operation, because I think I don't think they've had time to do a whole new operation, multiple boss operation after the other one. So, but maybe I'm wrong. But it feels more flashpointy to me.
What's the difference in workload between 5 bosses in an op and 3 bosses with a secret boss in a flashpoint?
I don't know.
I feel like this is the difference between asking me to write a 15-page and a 20-page paper.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me an extra 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'll figure out how to bridge that gap. Right. It's not like, an op, but, we can do a flashpoint that takes an hour and 15 minutes, but we can't do a 2-hour operation.
I'd say one of the main changes is more complexity. Flashpoint bosses, they usually have 1 or 2 mechanics, and that's about it. And if they're difficult, it's because of the raw numbers. Whereas operation bosses, there can be multiple mechanics, a lot of timing things going on. The fights tend to be a little longer as well. And have they tend to be more phase oriented, stuff like that. So they're just operation bosses are kind of like a step up from demigod to god or something like that.
Well, Master Mode Meridian and Master Mode, like the Traitor Trilogy Master Mode, those feel like operation encounters. The fight with Tau Adair and having to understand the circles she puts on the floor and how they impact her and her ads. And if your tank is the kind of tank that wants to stand still and manage the boss's aggro, you are not going to win that fight. Everyone needs to be willing to move.
Right.
And you have to burn things in the right order. It's definitely an operation style fight. So I guess I would just love the opportunity to talk with someone involved in all the creative and development at BioWare and ask, what is the difference between a flashpoint and an operation? Because to me, it sounds just like what you're focusing on has to change a little bit, but they're both PvE. It's just how many people are on the board when you let them do it. And then maybe you hit the scale on the boss a little bit higher. Right? All the ops bosses are like this, and all the flashpoint bosses are smaller by 50%. I don't know. I'm excited for this. It's just I don't know.
We'll find out more soon. It sounds like, although not quite yet.
You can't screw up characters that your servers are named after. So this needs to be brilliant.
Right. That would be good. Yes.
Otherwise, somebody's server is going to be turned into Hot Prospect. Anyway. All
Okay.
right. No
Let's
one
see.
remembers that.
One last bit from this, beyond what Keith wrote about, 6.2 and so on. In addition to the content features and quality of life improvements that Keith mentioned, we're looking to add past 6.1 and 6.2. You can expect the storyline that started with Jedi Under Siege and Onslaught to continue through our updates the rest of this year and beyond. After all, we're in our 9th year, and our 10th year anniversary is just around the corner. A very exciting time for SWTOR, to be sure. All right. And then 6.1, there's a little bit of, more details, like Keith did mention. February 11th is the expected release date, so we're, less than a week away. Pinnacles of Power is what it's being called. And strengthen your ties with the Galactic Republic or Sith Empire and establish a new personal headquarters in the luxurious Alderaan Noble Estate. So this is the launch of the Alderaan Stronghold, and also the storyline is going to be regarding this. Republic-aligned characters will work alongside Jedi Master Nostoral and General Daerun to guide the formation of Task Force Nova, an initiative to help rebuild the Jedi Order after years of brutal conflict. Players aligned with the Sith Empire meet with a new Sith liaison, Darth Rivix, to direct the reformation of the Hand, the Empire's most elite and powerful strike force. So that's the story beat that we're going to see, and they said it would be about the same size as Hearts and Minds. And then there's the Alderaan Noble Estate. Customize your own royal retreat, hidden away in the mountain ranges of Alderaan. It is a very pretty stronghold, too, by the way. On the PTS, it looks really great. This noble estate comes with a wide open field, a snowy overlook, and a regal mansion with a balcony overlooking cascading waterfalls. Careful use of high explosives can unlock a hidden area, a Killik area to be specific, and grant access to a unique aspect of the estate's territory. There you go. All right. There's only a few other little bits here. There was a maintenance for Starforge only on February 4th. There was a hardware issue, estimated downtime of 1 hour, and that's exactly what it took. It came back up in an hour. So that was apparently a little hardware issue, but taken care of on Starforge. And then in general Star Wars news, since the last episode, Alan Harris has died. He was 81 years old. And he played a variety of roles, but was best known for Bosk, the reptilian bounty hunter. So if you're a Kaizen Fest fan, gotta tip your hat to Alan Harris as Bosk, our first Trandoshan. There's a little bit of information on Alan Harris. Retired from acting. He'd been battling undisclosed health problems, and I did look up his IMDb. Bosk was the only Star Wars role where he got credit. His uncredited roles were Leia's Rebel Escort in A New Hope. He was a Bespin security guard in Empire Strikes Back, and he was a stormtrooper in Return of the Jedi. And like I say, all of those were uncredited. He also had uncredited bit roles in Doctor Who, Flash Gordon, Superman, and The Shining. So that's pretty cool. I mean, being involved with 5 pretty massive things there. Flash Gordon, okay, I guess that was just the one-off movie. But, the first Superman movies, there's been a lot of Superman movies since then. The Shining is one of my favorite horror movies. And Doctor Who, of course, big franchise that's been coming back in the last, decade and more now. But this would, of course, been back, early 80s or late 70s. So this would be old-style Doctor Who. And yeah, so there's Alan Harris. Let's see, and we'll go now to the force feedback. We did get a couple people writing in. Camden Miller said on OotiniCast, you don't want to do that one, Doc?
No,
okay.
There's no reason.
All right. We will skip that then. Jacob Hausman wrote in, still tuning in a decade later. Keep up the good work, and thank you, Jacob. Sorry, I didn't see that giant red letter you put up there. All right, I'm in a extra weird mood today, so that's a show. However, before we go, there is one announcement, and we've been working on it for a little bit. It does look like it's confirmed enough that we can at least talk a little bit about it, and that is that on the next episode, which is going to be February 25th, we're going to have Charles Boyd as a guest. So creative director for SWTOR is going to be with us, and we're very excited. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk with him. It's going to be an interesting time because, it's been hopefully enough time past the launch of Onslaught that we can get his talk, his thoughts on Onslaught itself, and also where SWTOR is headed. So we're really excited to be talking with Charles, and that's going to be again on the 25th. This is we're still absolutely nailing down the details, but it does look like the 25th at our normal time of noon Pacific, which would be 2 p.m. his time Central. So we're very excited for that. Hope to see you there, and we'll be, of course, tweeting all about that and stuff like that. So we've sent him some questions that we wanted to ask him so that he can give an idea of where our headspace is at. Certainly, if there's things that you want us to talk to him about, go ahead and send things in to us. We'll be happy to make a little questionnaire for him on that as well. So so Charles Boyd next time on the 25th. Look forward to it, and can't wait to see you all there. And that's the show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Steel Sean server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Tuesdays at noon Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. Thank you to the chat room, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Doc, did you want to say goodbye to him?
Oh, no. Let's just cut it there.
All right, we'll see you next show. All right, thanks for coming, everyone. We're looking forward to the next show. You guys take care. That's hilarious. Stopping the stream and stop.